And we're live. So, welcome. I'm Terry McGill. You caught me adjusting my microphone. This show is Who's Your Neighbor? And it grew out of COVID isolation. And I began reading the stories of people who were having COVID experiences, either too much closeness because now somebody that they would rather not be in the same room with all day long, they were. Or they were so isolated, and you know the stories yourself. At the same time, I began to realize that there are people that are our neighbors or close to us geographically, and we don't have a clue about them. And so what? These are people who make a difference in people's lives, a great difference in many cases. And I just heard my phone ding that I got a message coming, and I realized that I've forgotten to mute it. So 1 second, and I'll turn, come on, down all the way. There. Now that will be silent, and we won't have any more interruptions. So tonight, I would like to introduce you to Dr. Jeudi Boulom. Judy is actually in Tacoma. I'm in Portland, Oregon, so she's a little bit more of a distant neighbor, but I've known her for, I don't know how long. And I'm not going to tell you about her, but she and I are just going to chat, and I'm going to draw her out, and you'll get to experience who she is. Welcome, Dr. Judy. I get the name under me. So I'm not a doctor, but you are. You're a chiropractor?
Yes. Thank
And,
you.
pardon?
Yes, I am.
Would you, because I've had different experiences from different chiropractors, what's your style, background, training? Who do you work with? What do you like to do? What's your specialty?
Thank you, Terry, for having me on. And I am actually in Linwood, Washington, which is another hour up from Tacoma.
Oops.
So I'm a chiropractor, but not the traditional kind that you're familiar with. I'm more of a holistic approach. The reason why I choose to be more on a holistic approach is that over the years, I have fine tuned my skills and taken different classes to really help my patients because not every patient is the same. So there are challenges that comes up, and I'm always constantly looking for avenues and ways to assist my patients to relieve them of pain. And so over the years, I have learned to incorporate nutritions with energy work, with acupressures, with combining with chiropractic. So it has become a holistic approach type of chiropractic care.
So when you say energy work, that's a whole arena of what I think of as complementary work, not medical, but certainly interfaces. What different types of energy work do you incorporate?
Um, Energy work, well, I have training with Dr. and Master Shah as a Dao hand practitioner, but I also have learned Reiki. I'm certified as a Reiki practitioner as well. So, and through my acupuncture training, postgraduate, I have that as well. So, helping to move the energy within the body is very essential for the patients to achieve optimal health.
So chiropractic then, in my understanding, works on the body matter, adjust the spine so that the nervous system works better.
Yeah, so you can see the spine right there with the nervous system, right? The philosophy of the chiropractor is that the nervous system is the master system of the body, right? The control system is here, And then the highway is the spinal cord, where the messages goes to the body and then it interprets back into the brain. So if there's any interferences along that pathway, it will affect our day-to-day function. And chiropractor believe that the body has the power, the innate intelligence, which we call the soul, to self-regulate itself, but there's time when it cannot do that. And that's when chiropractor come in and locate where are the imbalances along the pathway. And we go in and we help the body realign so that the body can then rebalance itself.
So there's the mechanical aspect of it, but that allows the body energy to flow. Is that accurate?
Yeah, the mechanical aspect is we're working with the spine, but
Right.
then we're allowing the innate intelligence, which is the soul, to then self-regulate through the nervous system.
And then with the acupuncture, then you're dealing at traditionally what's called the energy level.
Yes, you're trying to flow the energy through the meridians, but in the state of Washington, we're not allowed to do acupuncturist. So we do acupressure points, but we learn the meridian, we learn the acupuncture points, and then we can do acupressure.
I just read that there were something like 400 acupuncture points in the body.
So there's a lot, yes.
Wow.
But with me, I use the major alarm points so that I find to be very effective with the patients.
What is an alarm point?
These are major points, acupuncture points like large intestine, 4, 11, lung 1, stomach's 36, liver 1, kidney 1. Those are major points that we use.
So that takes us from of the 5 levels that I think of our whatever it is that we are. There's at the bottom, I think of it as the bottom, there's the matter, the physical body, but then there's the energy. Then above that, there's mind, right? So, and then above that, the heart, and then I think of it as the very top. And this is going back to Dr. and Master Jigong Shah teachings, that the soul level or information level, to use Dr. Rulin Shu's, the physicist. It's so amazing that a physicist comes in and gives us different language to communicate to a different part of the public.
Right.
So you had mentioned that you also have received the training and the transmission as a Tao Healing Hands practitioner.
Yes.
And you incorporate that with your chiropractic also?
Yes. I use them when patients, the most recent story that I had with the Tao hand is patients could not get to my office and they were in severe pain. So her appointment was the next day, but because she was such in excruciating pain, she can't drive to my office.
Wow.
And so I just asked her to just stay home and just find a comfortable place. And that's when I offered the remote healing Tao hand. And she was able to feel better and much more relaxed.
I greatly appreciate the ability to offer remote, and call them blessings, energy transmissions, whatever we name it, it is. Don't have to be on a telephone, don't have to be on a table. And it works.
Yes.
It's like, wow.
Yeah, it's great to have, as a practitioner, to have many different type of tools at our disposal, because not every patient, like I said, are the same, and therefore they may need different type of treatment protocols. So when you have different trainings, you can draw on those trainings to assist the patients. Like, with the energy blockages, I see patients when the regular chiropractic adjustment won't hold the adjustment because there's more to it than just the structural itself. If you take Master Sha training, you understand the 5 elements. The emotion factors plays a huge role in their not holding their adjustment. So by integrating that, it really helps them to hold the adjustment longer.
Interesting. So does this lead into your, excuse me, your wellness coaching part of your life?
Yes. So when patient comes in, most of the time what brings them in is pain. But as they begin to understand the work that I offered, they realize that there's more to it than just the structural aspect. So I do offer life transformational coaching as well. So it really helped them to really dive deep into their the underlying cause of their problem, because usually if it's a structural, a minimum of 3 visits, a maximum of 12 visits should really help them recover. First 3 visits, you should see 80% to 90% improvement. But if that doesn't, then there's an underlying issues, and then we will help them define what that might be. And if it's something that is related to emotional aspect, then what is the underlying root cause that relates to that? Then it could be like an onion, you peeling the layers of the onion, then there's more issues, and that's when we move into the life transformation coaching aspect.
Well, I've got so many thoughts running through my head right now. Life transformation. How long does it, if there's an average, how many visits does it take a person to begin to understand that I'm guessing it's because I was that way. I go to a chiropractor and like, fix me. And what do you mean I have a responsibility?
Well, I'll give you an example of a patient who was a psychologist herself, psychiatrist, counselors. And she was, because of the situation that she was going through, she was on the verge of commit suicide. And with chiropractic care, we address the structural imbalances and allow the nervous system to recalibrate itself. But then there's the other component, which that life coaching comes in. And it didn't take her, it's less than 12 visits, chiropractic combining with the coaching, probably 3 sessions of the coaching aspect. And she was able to completely turn herself around. Her business started to boom. She was so much happier, and she was very grateful.
I would imagine.
Yeah. And I had another patient, again, was suicidal. These are patients who were on, I'm not saying that I'm a counselor, but from chiropractic, you align the nervous system, and then you take them into the coaching aspect of helping them to really find the underlying root cause of what is it that's causing them to be in that state of mindset, and help them, give them tools and protocol how they can be empowered. This is what I do, is I love to empower my patients to take and understand what is going on with them, whether it's structural, whether it's emotional, whatever it is to find the root cause of it and understand it, and then give them tools to help themselves. And I'm acting as a coach, guiding them along the way.
I'm really appreciating what you offer, and I'm also going, geez, I didn't get that. We were rear-ended when I think I was 15 years old. I was in the back seat, and somebody was really drunk, and we were stopped, and they hit us at 50 miles an hour. I still remember his name. So he's probably not around anymore. But it was a Dr. Wilder, and he was really big. But that he may not have been that big because I was pretty little. But he did physical adjustment by putting a fist underneath me and then laying on me I felt like it was breaking my back. And it was just, come back in, 4 days or next week. And I'm going, I don't want to go back, but, and, it was decades before the holistic movement didn't exist until.
Well, actually, you have in all profession, you always have those who are just stayed within their protocol of what they're trained. And then you have those who seek out and want to really help their patients, right? Because there you have medical doctors who also cross trained in different area. And so same thing with chiropractors, same thing with massage, same thing with different professions. It's just depending on the provider themselves. What is it that they are seeking to help their patients, right? Those
and how willing and how able they're to open up. And
yes. Yeah. I spoke with a colleague of mine last week, and I said, are you open to more of a holistic approach? And they responded, no, I'm just,
I'm good.
Chiropractic, I'm good. Soft tissue injury, and that's all I'm doing. So not everyone is the same, and their forte is a little bit different. But for me, what I find works for me is incorporating all of this aspect, because our human body, our energy being, we are constantly bombarded by a lot of distractions and disturbances. And so when that happened, we have to find tools to help the patients. Coming in for chiropractic adjustment, like I said, if you have all other factors, it's like the pieces of the puzzles. You have one component, but you're missing the other components. Therefore, the adjustment doesn't hold or doesn't last that long, and you seem to have to come back more frequently. Whereas if I add these other components, then the frequency is reduced, because they're able to hold the adjustment better, and they become more empowered. They become more in tune with their body.
I remember back in the 80s, another phase of my life, there was a wonderful chiropractor, and he had a whole range of other tools too. He gave me some colorless liquid along the way and said, take this and it'll help. And I was dying at the time, evidently. Sorry, I got caught up in that. Boy. Sometimes I get caught up in some of these life memories, and it's like, wow, how did I get through there?
Yeah, you went through a major tragedy, so.
Well, I had been in another accident. I've been in a lot of accidents in my life, and I remember this. Previous to him, I was going to another chiropractor who had actually gone on vacation to England, was in a car accident, and both he and his partner were killed. So, yeah, wow. That was such a shock, because, again, I was told that, the reason that I needed to have 3 rear view mirrors was I couldn't turn my neck very much. My body systems were shutting down. Mm-hmm. And again, he had colorless liquids that cleaned out stuff, and he put me on the Pritikin diet. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it was very pure, and helped me recover. But I don't want to talk about me. I'd like to have a more of a sense of what is it that how do you know when people are ready to or are willing to be open to coaching?
The patients will know that they're coming in here within the first 2 or 3 treatments. They know that there's more to it than just the structural aspect, based on my conversation with them through the treatment protocol that I put out for them. Um, when they come in to see me, I already teach them how to tune into their body, teaching them, how to understand the communications that their body is telling them, because our bodies is constantly communicating to us. It's just that we are taught to look outside of ourselves, and we reach for outside for things. For example, we have a headache. What is the headache? A
Where's
root
an aspirin?
reach for Excedrin, aspirin, Tylenol, all of this, right? Instead of, well, maybe you're dehydrated. Maybe you didn't have enough sleep. Maybe your blood sugar is low. Maybe, right? Because I have a patient who constantly have a headache every time when she comes in and see me. And I go, okay, let's just assess and see. One of the factor is that she eats microwave food. And I said, okay, because microwave food really is doing more damage to your body than benefiting. People think that it is quick, easy, right? 20-second, 30-second, 1 minute, it doesn't harm you. But really, if you look at, there's research showed that it actually destroys the molecular compound of the food, and it's actually more toxic to the body. So I said, okay, why don't you stop eating the microwave food for a week and then see what happens? She did that, and she realized that it was the microwave food that was causing her headache.
Wow.
So by looking at and seeing what are the underlying cause, and another patient who had constant headache was, she was dehydrated. And we know that 70 to 80% of our body is water. And the majority of people will drink anything else but water, right? And if you ask them, so do you drink water? They say, yeah. And I said, okay, so how much water do you drink? Oh, a glass of water a day. So a glass of water a day, 12 ounce, 16 ounce at max, right? 8 ounce is what a glass
I was
is.
going
But
to
I'm
say it's
giving you a
probably
16
less than
ounce.
16. Yeah.
But if our body is 70 to 80% water, and we're only taking in a glass of water that is at a maximum 16 ounce, when we urinate, when we sweat, we lost water content, right?
Right.
Our organs require water for the lubrications. So we're dehydrated. So I gave an analysis of, would you like to be a grapes or would you like to be a raisin?
Good analogy. Wow.
Right? Because a raisin is dehydrated grapes.
Right.
So our brain, our organs, our nervous system are all requiring water. So if you're dehydrated, don't you think that that's the reason why we have headaches? So we take Excedrin or whatever pain medications that we're having. It's kind of like driving, and then you see a red light come on that needs oil, and then you put a red tape on it and you don't see it anymore, and you keep on driving.
I know somebody that did that.
So you see, we didn't really solve the problem. We just mask the problem when we reach for temporarily things.
So when you say that most people are drinking something other than water,
Mhm.
if people are drinking coffee or pop or tea, it has
Caffeine.
it's primarily water.
Well, it has caffeine in it, and
Uh-huh.
caffeine actually causes dehydration. So for every cup of water we drink, we have to drink 2 cups of, I mean, for every cup of coffee, we have to drink 2 cups of water. because
Wow.
caffeine causes us to lose water.
Well,
It's
I'm
a
glad I don't drink coffee. What about kombucha?
kombucha is good, right? It's great for our guts, but it's carbonated drink.
And so what? I mean, what's that do?
Well,
Carbonation.
with carbonation, it's really with the carbonated drink, you don't really have that water component in it, right? And it's actually I have to do more research on the carbonated drink, but I know that the caffeine causes us to lose the water content. But we want to not drink the carbonated drink when we're eating because that depletes our ability to absorb the nutrients.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
I'm going to be changing certainly at first what I drink with my meals because I've been drinking like 2-3 ounces of kombucha.
Oh.
So thank you. A little side benefit here for me. So you mentioned the Tao Healing Hands transmissions, and I'm curious. Can you give us share with us some examples of besides the woman that couldn't drive to see you, other ways that or times when you've found that beneficial?
Yeah, I have a patient who had low back pain, and we spent um, about 30 to 40 minutes treating her with the modalities that I have. And she still had intense pain, like she couldn't move. So I said, okay, are you open for me to offer you this modality? And she was opened. So I offered her the Tao Healing Hand. And within 5 minutes of offering her the Tao hand, she noticed that her pain felt better. Like she's able
Wow.
to move. She doesn't have the pain anymore. It was very powerful. It's very instant. And there's a couple of times when the patient comes in, their low back was so excruciating that it hurts to even lay on the table.
Wow.
So that's when I use the Tao hand to ease the pain so that I can then align the structure.
That's I'm going, wow, neat way. Hadn't heard about that. Yeah, if you can't even lie on the table comfortably, then it's going to be. Seems to me it'd be very difficult to use the manipulation to.
Yes.
Wow. So you're in the state of Washington, and chiropractors are not allowed to do acupuncture.
Yes. Not in the state of Washington.
Interesting. Good to know. Yeah. So we're running right up to 8 o'clock, and I have a link for people who might be interested in experimenting, just finding out what it's like to receive a Tao Hands blessing or energy transmission. One of the Tao Hands practitioners, a high level one here in Portland, we have a website. I say we, the Tao Center here in Portland has a website, and when people go to there, and Michelle will be putting the link up in a bit into the chat room, people can get a 10-minute Tao Hands blessing as a gift, so they can have their own experience.
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes is really the minimum, I understand, for a Tao Hands blessing. Longer, well, I guess it would depend on the person, and you'd certainly know. What is the, when you're working with your clients using that complementary modality, is there an average for the Dow Hands blessing?
You know, Terry, I think you said it beautifully. It just depends on the individual. There are situations, what is going on with them, you know, and also the practitioners too. It's two ways.
So I'm just noticing somebody posted that's listening to us, and they said, would be worth the try. So the link is up there now.
Highly recommended.
Well, time is always too short. Thank you so much for chatting with you today. As long as I've known you, as much as we've talked, we've never been in this talking like this and with this topic, and I appreciate learning these parts of you, of what you do and how you serve. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Terry.
I look forward to talking to you again.
Likewise. Thank you.
All right. Have a great night. So I did mention, and our producer has posted the link. It's the one that says MailChimp.mp. That's where you can go. And there's videos there, if I remember it right. It's been a while since I looked at that website. But right underneath the title, next one down is you can have an instant experience as a gift of a 10-minute Tao Healing Hands blessing. I like the term blessing. It's an energy transmission. It's a very high level energy transmission. It works at the information level. Some people call it the quantum level. Dr. Rulin Shu, the physicist, she says that's the information. And she said, her interpretation way of describing is that soul is a spiritual term. Information is how she describes it. This is how we operate. And, my sense is Dr. Judy is working down at the physical level so that the body, so that the spine and the nerves that energy can flow better. So it's all about communication, and there's level after level of it. And I'm just so happy to find that here's another holistic practitioner, and there's so many more out there now. It's been so wonderful. It's been about 30 years since I first ran onto the works of Dr. Norm Shaley, and that was when he if you've ever heard of Carolyn Mace, spelled MYSS, my wife and I about 30 years ago ran across her work and got one of her workbooks. And we're looking at, if I remember right, I don't remember, can't remember the details of it. But I'm glad that you joined us today. What I've learned is invite your friends to view this and other ones. Who's Your Neighbor? And it's on the Master Sha Tao Healing Center Portland website. The archives are there. This is episode number 11. I don't know if I like the word episode after. It's just like all of a sudden that doesn't seem like the best term. But it's the 11th. I think of more of a chat than an interview, where we get to meet people. Who is our neighbor? We don't know about most of the change makers that are in our community, or a phone call away, or a video like Zoom or one of the other ones. So anyway, I thank you for joining, and I know that I have seen as many in 10 days as another 200 views of these interviews, these chats. So invite your friends back if they might benefit. And certainly I invite you to share that link, the MailChimp link. And we've also got Dr. Judy's website where you can connect with her if you have a question. If you like the concept of somebody that just doesn't do snap 'em, crack 'em, and my apologies, but that was my first experience, and I'm still a little shy for someone who's not more holistic, and that's where I come from. So until next week, we'll have another guest, and until then, have a great time and wonder who's your neighbor. And until then, I'm Terry McGill, and thank you for joining